In this video, I'm going to walk you through the setup of Dreamweaver so that you can start to work on web pages and then actual full websites. In the previous video, we downloaded our local root folder. We've put it on our desktop, so I have mine sitting here and open there, and here are my folders for my assignments as the semester goes on. My main home page is right there, and so forth. So you might not be working on project 1. Maybe you've had to come back to this, and that's okay. But if this is the first time you've done it, then I'm sure you're working in project 1 right now, and this is your initial setup of Dreamweaver. Now, while Dreamweaver can be used to just edit single web pages, and it can also upload those to your web server, a lot of its value has to do with working with full websites, because it actually tracks the different pages in your site, how they're linked together, when we put images on the page, where those images reside, and so forth. It uses caching to help track all of that. And as I said before, it can also upload pages to the site for us. So we need to go get Dreamweaver set up. So the first thing I want to look at is, let's go over here to Chrome. Here's our class site. I'm on the project 1 page right now. I've scrolled down to the step-by-step instructions. We've already downloaded the folder that I have on my desktop, and now we're on step 2. We're configuring Dreamweaver to connect to the web host so that we can actually edit our pages as well. So I'm going to come down here. You notice that I have a setup for the Chico State class as well as the Butte College class. In this case, I'm looking at Butte College, and I have this PDF right here of written instructions as well as the video link. This video is the video you're watching right now. So I've already opened this PDF, and I have it sitting over here in another window. So you can always go back to this as well. It'll walk you through the process. I'm going to walk you through the process right now, but what I do want to do is I want to scroll down to this slide right here, and this gives us our setup. Okay, so we're going to refer to this as we actually work in Dreamweaver and get things set up. Okay, let's actually get started on this. I am going to flip over to Dreamweaver. Here's Dreamweaver. I've already launched it, so you don't have to wait and watch it launch on my computer. And the first thing we want to do is we want to find the Files panel. So there's panels over here on the right. You see that there's tabs that you can move between them. And I have the Files panel open right here. So look there first and see if yours is open. If it's not, you can go up to the Window menu. And these are all the different windows, panels, and everything that you can open up. And you'll find Files right there. So if yours isn't showing up, just go down and select it. That'll open it. Mine has a checkbox next to it because mine's already open. Okay, so in my Files panel, I can see the files I have to work with, but this is a different job right here. Right here at the top, you see right there, it says MAD-T222, so that's a different class. That's a Chico State class that I have. And you also saw, as I clicked on that, that I can select between all the different sites that I have set up. Okay, so we get a different setup for each website, so I can access the appropriate files, and so that I could upload to the appropriate web hosting account. So this is the wrong site here. Let's see, before we start the setup, I also want to show you here in the Files panel, find this little icon right here. So you see this little square icon. When I hover, it says expand to show local and remote sites. So I'm going to click on that. It moves the panel out, breaks it loose. And you'll see right here, these are my local files, okay? And over here, this is, you notice right here, it says remote server, okay? So this one's actually already connected. You can find the icon right up here that's a plug. You see it's connected right now. I can click and disconnect it, okay? But this allows me to see the local files that I'm building and editing, and then I upload them to the server, which is where people get to view them, and you can see your server view over here, okay? I'm going to tuck that back away for the moment. Just click on the red close button. And let's go ahead and start setting up our site. So, you're probably accustomed to coming up to the File menu and saying New. Okay, most of our software works that way. In this case, a new file would typically be a new HTML file, which is a new web page. But first we need to set our site up. So come over to the site menu over here. And this is how you set up the entire site at once. So I'm going to go site and say new site. Gives me this dialog box. Okay, my first thing is I need a site name. So you can name it what you like. I would suggest you name it something appropriate. So I'm going to call this MSP5 and then my name. So your class name and your name would be appropriate. That's how it'll display in the list of sites that you're working on. We're also going to save a shortcut file in a little bit, and it'll use this name right here. So that would be appropriate. So give it a site name. Then directly below it, you see local site folder. That's our root folder, the one that I've got sitting on the desktop right now. So this one, it happens to be looking at the desktop. Sometimes it's defaulting to somewhere else, but it's looking at unnamed site 2, which is definitely not the right place. So don't skip this. I need to change this to be the correct folder, but instead of changing the text here, I can come to this folder icon down here at the end. If I click on that, there we go. Now it'll let me go select what I'm looking for. So if it took you to like documents by default, you can just click here on the desktop icon. There's everything on my desktop. I'm going to go click local root folder and say choose. And then you can see right here it changed the path. There's my local root folder sitting on my desktop. That's the username on my computer. Okay, once I have my site name and my local site folder selected, I can go over here to the left to the tabs and click on servers. Now this is going to do the setup for my web server that's out there on the internet. You notice that there are no servers here in my list. So I'm going to come right down here and find this plus icon so that I can add a server. I'm going to click on that. It gives me a setup dialog box. Now the first thing is my server name. This, honestly, you can name this anything you would like. It doesn't really use this name anywhere. But this is the point I'm going to start flipping over to the slides and seeing what the login credentials are and so forth. So let's flip over here, and I can see that in my example I named it Hayes.media hosting. Well, that's a good name because that's where the server is. So Hayes.media hosting. Hayes.media is the domain associated with all of our classwork and my hosting account. Okay, connect using FTP. I can leave that alone. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Some hosting accounts would have you change that to SFTP, which is Secure File Transfer Protocol, but not in this case. We're going to leave it alone on FTP. Okay, our FTP address. If I flip over, you'll see that the FTP address, this is kind of like a web address. It points at a server. So the address is ftp.hayes.media. So I'm going to flip back and type ftp.hayes.media. Okay. Now I need the username and password. So notice on the username, this one says HayesMI@hayes.media. And I've got HayesMI circled, okay? And that's because you need to use your username. And I have matched the usernames to your school email address. So my school email address is hayesmi@butte.edu. So I'm using the HayesMI. So use yours here. Also keep in mind that sometimes they have numbers at the end of it. So it could be like Smith BO 001, and then I think yours are at student.butte.edu. So if yours have numbers at the end of them, make sure that you include those, okay? So back over here, username. So first your username. Mine's HayesMI, but use yours. To the @sign. Now don't put the Butte ending on it. You have to do Hayes.media because this is on my server, not the school server. So username @Hayes.media. Okay, password over here. It's blacked out, you can't see it, but you'll notice up here, use your student ID number for the password, okay? So when I set your accounts up, I was looking at the class roster and it had your ID numbers there, so that was an easy thing for me to use. So flip back over here, under your password, put your student ID number. And yes, you may have to pull out your ID card. That's okay. I don't know mine either. So let me put my password in. Okay. Okay, so now that we have told it where the server is, what the username is, what the password is, I can actually click on this test button and see if it'll connect okay. So click on test, and there we go. That's what you're hoping to see. Dreamweaver connected to your web server successfully. So this means that you got everything set right. You're able to log in. So go ahead and click on OK. Okay, the last thing here would be the web URL. The root directory I don't need to worry about. We leave that blank. The web URL is the actual web address that you would type in a browser to go view your website. Okay, so it's at ftp.hays.media. It's just taking a guess. It's not quite right. If I come back over here, you'll see that it is hays.media. Okay, don't need the FTP on the front. /students/MSP5/ and then your username. Okay, so let's go back here. So it is hays.media/students. Okay, so I've got a folder of students. Now the class is MSP5, another slash, and then here you use your username again. This is the username at the beginning of your email address, or you can look up here at the username. Hays MI is mine. Make sure you're using yours. Otherwise you'll be looking at my files. Okay, hays.media/students/MSP5/ and then your username. Okay, once you get all of this filled out, we can go ahead and click the Save button. And there we go. You see that it added the server into my list right there. Okay, the last section, I'm going to come back to the tabs on the left. I'm going to click on the Advanced Settings tab. It drops me into Local Info. There are two things I need to check here. First, up here where it says Links Relative to, it gives you a choice between document and site root. It's already on document typically. Make sure though that it's on document. Okay, site root is a legitimate way that you can have your links relative to the site root, but I find that for some reason Dreamweaver is not doing it right. It's broken if you use that in Dreamweaver. So make sure that this is on document. Then down here below we have two check boxes. One is checked by default. They need to both be checked. Okay, so check case sensitive links checking. Make sure both of those are checked. The second one, enable cache. I mentioned the cache a minute ago, and that's where it's tracking how your pages are linked to each other and how when you place an image on the page where it's stored, things like that. So that's important. Case sensitive links checking is important because the majority of web servers are Unix servers, and the majority of Unix servers are case sensitive. What that means for you, I'm on a Mac right now, and the Mac looks at if I have an images folder. If I give it a capital I on images or a lowercase I on images, it treats them the same. It knows that they're both I's. On a Unix server, a capital I images and a lowercase I images are two different things entirely. And so if you ask for one, it won't look for the other one. Okay, so this just helps keep you straight right there between those. Okay, so once I have document, I have both of those checked. That's the end of my setup. I can go hit save. And when I do that, okay, this is, don't worry about that. If you get this, I will tell you this, if you get this message, see mine's telling me the root folder is the same thing for another site. If you're in our lab, you could get this message, and that would just be that another class earlier in the day, someone set a site up and they used a root folder of the same name. Now, you've put in fresh folder out there, but they're named the same, so it doesn't know the difference. So, as long as you put your root folder there, you can go and click and say, OK. And then you saw a little dialog go by there, and what that was it was creating the cache. Okay, it was just going through my folders and looking at everything. Okay, that is my setup. Now, back over in my Files panel again, you'll see that I have these files sitting here. If I hover over the folder at the top, there's a little pop-up there, and you can see that it's looking at the local root folder on my desktop. Okay, so this folder, let's hide that even. This folder on my desktop, those files that are in it are these same files here. This is not a copy of the files. They are the same files. It's just using a different program to look at them. Okay, so that's how I can now access them. Okay, just a couple more things to go over. Let's see. We've set the site up, so everything's good there. I'm ready to work. And by the way, I can look right up here and see there's the name of my site. That's how I know I'm accessing this site in this list right here. But if you're working on lab computers, you come to class and you work on the computers there, those computers, every time they're restarted, they reset back to just a standard install. And so they forget about the sites that have been set up there. So it won't remember the last time you were there. So you either go through the whole process we just did right now, or you can create a shortcut file to set up. So let's do a shortcut file real quick. Let's go up to Site. This time we're going to say Manage Sites, and this will give me a list of all the sites I have set up in Dreamweaver. So do that and then find the site you just created. So mine's highlighted right there. You probably don't have anything else in yours right now. These are other sites I have. Make sure you have the correct one selected. Then look at the icons down here, and the rightmost one, this one with the folder and the arrow, that's the one that I want to use. If you hover, it says Export the currently selected site. I'm going to click on that. And in this export dialog box, I want to leave it on the default backup my settings. Okay, so leave it on backup my settings and say OK. And here, the exporting is actually creating a shortcut file, the .ste file. And you notice this is the site name that I used earlier. Okay, so MSP5 Michael Hayes. So that's good. It's trying to put it in my local root folder. The local root folder contains all of the files that are going to get pushed to my web server. So I really don't want this there. I don't want this file that has all of my setup on my web server. So I'm just going to come down here and click on the desktop button and save it on the desktop for the moment. Okay, so there's my desktop. It's got a good name, so I'm going to say save. And once I finish that, I can click on the done button. So if I hide that, you'll see there's my local root folder. And right there, there's MSP5 michaelhayes.ste. That's my shortcut file. So this is the one that I would use to set up my website when I come to the classroom to work. And I'll create another video to walk you through that. Okay, but these would be the two things if you're working on a lab computer that you need to save every time you leave. If you're working on your own computer, then you're not going to use the shortcut file, and you can just leave your root folder in the same location all the time. Okay, one last thing to look at in Dreamweaver. I just want to show you real quick right here. There are my files. To access a file, I can go double click on, like my index file, and here is that page. So I have a preview up here at the top. I have a code view down here at the bottom. Okay, now I can control this. You see right up here at the top, I'm in split view, which shows me both. I can go to code view. I could go to design view and see just the preview. And there is also a live view, which is a little bit better preview, but it's a little harder to work here. So I tend to leave this set on design and then go to split and show the code as well. And that's because I show you a lot of code in class. Okay, so it helps to keep these both parts open right here. Okay, I think that's all we're going to do with this video right now. I'm going to walk you through editing and uploading pages in just a moment, but that will be in the next video.